This webinar is part of our StoP European project, which has been running now for a bit over a year, and we still have a year left. And WWP is very proud to be one of the partner organizations in developing this European StoP project, which aims to prepare the groundwork to bring the StoP model of engaging communities and preventing and stopping domestic violence to new countries across Europe. And we're also developing a StoP toolbox for practitioners that can be used internationally. And we have partners in this program, in this project, and we're doing it together with the Association of Austrian Autonomous Women's Shelters, also of Hamburg University of Applied Sciences, as well as organizations like ALEC in Romania, Garance in Belgium, CITEL in France, Rosa in the Czech Republic. And we're also very happy to have WAVE, the Women Against Violence Europe Network, as a partner as well in this. And if you want to read a bit more about our partners who is doing this project, you can take a look at our webpage that Dura will put in the chat, hopefully just now. And now it is my really great pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Sabine Stövesand to tell you all about the StoP model. Sabine is a professor of social sciences at the Hamburg University of Applied Sciences since 2006, and she is the founder of StoP. She developed the StoP model, so she is absolutely the best person to tell us all about it. Sabine, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Ola, and hi everybody, wherever you are. I'm in the countryside and I have hay fever, and I try to stay awake and not do that all the time. So I would love to be in touch with people, even if it's only online. And for this, I would love to see faces. I really, really hate these black things reminding me of graveyards. So if your hairdo is not okay, don't worry. It's not about beauty, it's about us and our power and changing stuff. So first thing I would like to ask you is to use the chat and write down what you would say in your local, not your national, in your local language as hi, good morning, or everything. Just write down, what would you use? Because I'm from the northern part of Germany and we use something special. Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah, some things are familiar. Oh, some things I cannot say, I guess. So there is kind of a variety, I see. So wonderful. Thank you very much. I'm from Hamburg, and we say moin. It means good morning, but we say it all day long. So it's always okay if you say moin. So, and thank you so much. And then I would like to ask you, please choose a reaction symbol from down there. On Zoom, you find reactions down there. And I would like to ask some questions, just quick questions. And if you would say yes to this question, just tip on the reaction button. Okay? Can you get it this early morning or not so early morning? So, who has been to Hamburg? Rafaela, the only one? No. Ola too, Maketa. Okay, I'm not the only one. So I'm living in St. Pauli, and also Jeppe. Okay, who knows what St. Pauli is? It's a red light district, and I live at the harbor front. It's very beautiful, very noisy, very colorful. Okay, so I'm not the only one. And the next question is, who has been in contact with the StoP work I'm introducing you before? Anybody? Maketa. Ola, you and Rafaela too, kind of. So there is maybe some people are shy. Okay, the next question is, who is locating located in Northern Europe of you? Just self-defined what Northern Europe means. So Jeppe and me, and also Madalina. Okay, Ola, yeah, Berlin is, I would say, next question. Who is located in the east of Europe? And Berlin is more to the east, I would say, but nobody east Europe? Me, Dürre is writing, okay. So not so many. And south? There must be some people from the south of Europe. Slow to react. So all of you are from the western part of Europe, or confused with geography.
We also have some non-European
Oh, I see.
participants, I think.
Where from? Where from?
Well,
Anybody?
maybe they.
Hello,
Yeah, Edina.
hello. I'm
Yeah.
Edna from Zimbabwe in Africa.
Okay, that's not definitely somewhere else. Thank you for being here and joining us today. And also,
Hello,
Ada.
hello. I'm from Secretariat Office of Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. It is based in Kathmandu, Nepal. Very nice to see you all.
Oh,
I see the message for registration, and I found it is very relevant with my work. And my coalition has been working across the globe with more than 80 organizations all around the globe, and our focus is dignified menstruation, and dignified menstruation is preventing the domestic violence, and that is why I thought it is very important. I really like to learn how does the Europe think about the domestic violence, whether they really see the connection with the menstrual discrimination or not. How does the Europe define the unequal power relationship and the patriarchy? That kind of things I really wanted to know. And so I registered and I booked my time as well. Thank you very much.
thank you very much, Rada. I think in this respect, Europe might be not as united as you wish, so I cannot answer what Europe thinks, but I will introduce you to a special model and a special way to work against domestic violence or gender-based violence, and there are others. There are so many colleagues here experienced, and I think we could have a whole day of discussing, but we just have 2 hours, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to the StoP model, the work we created in Germany and Austria, but we are linked. And I've been working with colleagues for many years now. One has been working in Uganda. She founded Raising Voices, the SASA approach, Laurie Michaud, and with Amy Thompson from Boston, who founded Close to Home, with Mimi Kim from LA, who's into transformative justice work, and also for a while with Amitabh Kuba from New Delhi, and with Christy Srivata from New Zealand. So we've been discussing this work for years, and so it's not only German or European experiences that form the StoP model, but we've been working together on this for quite a while. So, and just as an overview, I wanted to introduce you to the model, and that will take a while. It will be the traditional PowerPoint. There will be discussion breaks in between and breakout rooms afterwards to digest and to discuss with others and find questions. And then we will have a short bio break in between, around 5 minutes, or you do it self-organized, of course. And also question and answers. And I would also love to have some time for storytelling, for sharing what keeps you moving in this field of work. So, and then we do a little bit of wrapping up, and time is over. Yeah. Okay. Anything before I start my presentation? Does anybody want to ask or say? Maybe, so I have been working in a shelter for battered women for years in Hamburg. And after that, I've been trained as a community organizer, working as a community organizer in the red light district in Hamburg, in St. Pauli, what has been the poorest district of the city for long. And I combined these work experiences and expertise to form the StoP model while writing on my PhD. And then I gave it back to practice. And so nowadays we have 20 neighborhoods in Germany and 30 in this tiny little country of Austria working with this model. And what this model is all about, I'm going to show you. And please feel free to interrupt. And Ola, please, could you have a close look at the time?
Yes.
So, yeah, because there's so much to say and I don't want to, over. So could you give me the co-host, because I cannot share my screen. Okay.
Yes, sorry, done.
Yes. Okay. So, yeah. This is it. Okay. Okay. So you can see this, I guess.
Yes. Okay.
Good. Whatever community is, community means local community, can also be a community of interest or a religious community, but mostly we work with local communities, so with neighborhoods. And so this is one of our neighbors of our first pilot. And it's been a while. Obama was still popular. And so she said, yes, we can. And this is part of a campaign we did. And in this campaign, you can find what we do in a nutshell. So we find neighbors, we talk to them, we form action groups, and then we develop outreach material. And outreach material means it has to be with local people from the neighborhood who show their face. And so if you produce such a poster, it's not for staying in your office. This poster has to go out to the neighborhood. And for going out, you need people. And this is the thing, it's not me being the organizer, it's the people of the community. And you have to have many posters and different people. And then they go, for example, to the shopping mall, to the doctor, to the bank, to the little restaurants, and they say, here, we have a poster. Would you be willing to stick it up in your window front? And then you have to be prepared for a discussion. Somebody might say, why? We don't have this problem here in our neighborhood. And so we do have trainings, role plays with the neighbor. What can you say? And how could you talk to somebody else? And so this is also a kind of educational work, conscious raising work, and it's the neighbors who are active and are doing this. And then they are up there everywhere in the neighborhood in windows. And then somebody else comes and says to Miriam, hey, I've seen your poster up there. What's this all about? And then Miriam explains what this is all about. And so you start a conversation in the neighborhood. So this is more or less StoP, what we do. But there has been a long story in developing it. So I had these practice experiences, and I already did a pilot in the 90s. It was called Tarantula, like this big black spider. This is what the neighbors wanted. They wanted to signal it's a network and we have power. And I did a research on existing programs and methods in the support system. And I found this gap. I talk about the gap. And I also, there's somebody, I wrote my dissertation. There was this practice transfer, and now we do training programs and ongoing research, and we have this international exchange and cooperation, and the EU gave us money. But the first organization I partnered with was in, I found them on the internet, and they're in Boston. And it turned out that they really did the same they had the same idea and were doing the same kind of work. And the work is about mainstreaming the issue. So it's not a special women's thing, it's a thing of the community. And you use what you can. For example, you introduce the topic into the soccer group. Or like there's one lady here, you see the knitting thing, she loves to knit. And so she organized a knitting group, and it's such a difference if you ask people, come to my home and we talk about domestic violence, and you stare each other into the faces. And so what's about, let's talk about domestic violence. Or if you're knitting, concentrating on stuff, and then it's so much easier to start talking. Yeah. And so let it be a part of the neighborhood conversation, and use places where people are anyway and do what they like anyway. So we can see that there has been achieved a lot. The women's movement scandalized, or the feminist movement, violence against women and queer people, and pushed for change. Silence has at least partly been broken. There are shelters, hotlines, counseling program for perpetrators, at least in some countries, not in all countries. And it's very different. I'm aware of this, but things have changed since the 70s. Don't you think so? Otherwise, you wouldn't sit here, I guess. Yeah. And we have, yeah, and I think we can be proud of it. But if you look at it, mostly you have the dominance of approaches on the individual level. And it's after something happened. And the numbers of domestic violence or gender-based violence is still high, and it has been increasing, at least in Germany. Not only during Corona, also afterwards. So we have this situation, and you can find these messages every day in the papers. I collected these articles for a while. I stopped now, and it's on the last page. And sometimes it's, oh, it's about jealousy, drama. You know, it's not about femicide. They still have this wording. So it's there everywhere. And so we see domestic violence or gender-based violence is a current and massive social problem that has not diminished over the years, as far as we know from the prevalence studies. It mainly affects women, and of course also queer people. Patriarchal violence affects everybody who's not in the range of the binary norms, but it mainly affects women of all ages and socioeconomic backgrounds, we know that. And it takes part in the private sphere, and it's like many people don't talk about it. They don't seek help. They don't go to police for various reasons, maybe good reasons, but they are also in Germany, and we have quite a few counseling institutions, and they don't go there. So there is a gap between the support system and the victims' survivors. And there are gaps in the support system. Yeah, it's not even in Germany, not sufficient shelters. They are always overcrowded. Yeah, so you have this situation. And what my colleague from Boston said, like, if there's money, it goes to these green spaces, government services, service providers, and also sometimes formal social networks as to social club. No, they go to service providers and government services, a lot of money. But in the gray area, this is where the violence happens. This is where the people are. This is where the talk is. And there is a study in Austria proving that most of victims or survivors, as you prefer, they talk to friends. Yeah. And sometimes they don't talk, but if they talk to friends, people they know. But this is ignored. There you have no money. This is why it's gray. The money goes elsewhere. So this is a gap. And prevention. I don't know about your country, but prevention, everybody says, oh yes, that's very important, but they don't put money in it. but they have to. The Istanbul Convention says civic society prevention. You have to do something about this. And the focus StoP chooses is the place where the violence takes place and those who are close to survivors and perpetrators. Bystanders, you call it sometimes, but this is very important. It's on the level of the secondary prevention, yeah, where there are other risk factors. It's StoP is about what happens before it happens. What can we do there? Yeah, and yeah. So, and you know, Carol Hageman White, and she coined the sentence, violence against women is more about the quality of a community than the quality of a relationship. And this is our motto. And maybe you can relate to this too. It's not an individual and a private matter. It's part of what we do, all of us. And yeah, these are reasons why we think that our model is really important. And so I speak for like Amy or Laurie and all my international colleagues. And these are good reasons. Norms and reactions in informal networks are crucial because this is where people talk. If somebody would say, oh, please leave me alone, and I think you're not such a brilliant housewife as you could be, or if somebody says, okay, I can connect you to a counseling service, or you can stay at my house for a while, calm down, and I listen to you. This means a difference. If somebody says, to a guy, hey, the way you behave towards your partner is not okay. And this means difference. And neighbors, I don't know where you live, but in my house, you hear kind of what's happening in the house. And now I'm in the countryside, and here in the village, there is some talking, you know, people know, yeah, but sometimes they don't want to know, or they don't know what to do. And they have reasons to act. They feel compassion, or they, out of self-interest, they don't want this noise above them all the time. So there are reasons to act. And a really important thing for me was this a study by Christopher Browning in Chicago. And
Enjoyment. Pode matar.
Pardon?
Good morning, Pa. Garotos no vaca.
So yeah, well, I just keep on talking, and
Yes.
yeah. So he found out with many, many data he processed that in neighborhoods where the norm of non-intervention was less strong than in others, the number of femicides was significantly lower. And also non-lethal but severe violence, it also dropped. But it was so that there were less dead women when people thought, yes, it's a matter of the community and it's not a private matter. Yeah. And so what else do we need to start action on the neighborhoods? So for me, it was very convincing. And also the existence of an informal supportive social network had a positive effect on the disclosure of conflict in intimate relationships. So these were two good reasons to start thinking about a neighborhood model. And just a little glimpse, our Sasa, this who started working in Uganda, and now they are all over the global south. They have been found, they have been given money at one point by the World Bank, and you know, like $400 million, because this community model is working. And they had these randomized quantitative studies, and that said that women's risk of experiences physical violence by an intimate partner in the last year was reduced by 52% in communities where they were working, where they introduced this model. And also the power shift in relationships was very significant, that in Sasa communities, women and men reported that they were jointly doing their like 67 and 86% were jointly doing decisions. And so we do have some proof. And we also did a meta study, a global meta study on community work. And maybe Ola, you can find it, and or I will put the English version in the chat. So we found more than 50 organizations. We searched more than 100 documents from from many countries. And so we have this kind of work, and it is successful. So, okay. Where is it now? I have a problem to just go on. So, yeah. So the general goals is to make IPV visible. Only if people just stumble over it in their everyday life, they will start to do something. Make it a public matter for everybody. Change social norms in local neighborhoods, like it's not a private matter. It's okay to do something. It's okay to say something. And also raise consciousness about gender relations and power, and promote and support civic engagement, civic courage, intervention, and practical solidarity with survivors. Support disclosure and help seeking. This is what we do. We have methods, and we are working on it. Because there is, you can ask, how do you do it? And I'm a social worker, I'm a professor for social work. And I know I have been working as a community organizer. And so this kind of work, community organizing, do change work in local communities, has a tradition for more than 100 years. Does anybody know about Jane Addams or Saul Alinsky? Give me a reaction, just shout or... No. Somebody, yes. Somebody has to say yes. No. Okay. I cannot look into the chat, and there are still always people.
Yes, I will let them in. And I have also put the meta study link in English in the chat. So anyone who wants to take a look, you can go ahead.
Jane Addams founded the first settlement, Hull House in Chicago. She is a woman who won the Peace Prize and the Nobel Peace Prize, but she was a community activist. And she's my hero. So if you never heard about Jane Addams, just look her up. It's really great what she did. Saul Alinsky is the godfather of community organizing, also Chicago-based. And he influenced and inspired a lot of this work. So we have traditions and community work opposite to most social work. It's you leave your office, you do community assessment and go out and talk to people. And it's about community ownership, and we don't know clients. We know citizens, neighbors, activists. We don't know clients. We just know people who want to change something, and we support them and help them. We use local resources, and we do a collective action. And we do celebrate a lot, and we use arts. That helps a lot. So we have really great rap songs. We have theater plays, and also drawing classes. And it's about building a power base. That's what organizing means. It's just we do 1 point mobilization thing. We build structures like groups who are the core of activities, groups of dedicated people. We try to link macro and micro analysis. So what's happening with you, and what does it has to do with society? We talk about these things because we try to create a sustainable social change. Big words, I know, and I do not have the time to go more into it. But these are some actions Hull House did. They worked they worked on gender issues, but they worked also on organizing. And they I don't go into it. It's really interesting. So, and my friend Amy Thomason from Close to Home defined this work of community organizing as a process of engaging whole communities, youth and adults, people of all genders, family, friends and neighbors, professionals and politicians, in collectively articulating the problem, developing an expansive vision, like StoP means like districts, neighborhood without intimate partner violence. So vision, building collective power and capacity, and creating both personal and social change. Personal and social change are intertwined. Or how would you say? Is this the correct word? So it goes together. You cannot have social change with our old personalities. We have to change to do this. And by doing it, we change. And so our general principles is mainstreaming the issue of IPV. Yeah, are awesome. And it's okay to have fun. This is what Alinsky said, and it's so true. It's okay to have bright colors, like we have blue and green, because blue is for a calm and clear mind, and green is for hope and growth. This is why we choose these colors. And what happens when with StoP and when we work, do this grassroots community work on gender-based violence, is that neighbors listen. They don't, close their eyes, shut their ears, and they go ring the bell, or they offer shelter, they check the situation, and we train how can we do it without jeopardizing ourselves. And they do networking, they build support circles, they exchange their phone numbers and organize a safety chain. Like, for example, in one of the neighborhoods, the guy, he has a go order, so he cannot approach the woman, but he's stalking her. And so one of the neighbors calls the woman, and she says, "Oh, I saw your ex. He's in the neighborhood. Should I come to your house, pick up your child, and walk him to school so you can stay home safely?" These things, for example, happen. And at one point, the man, he destroyed the entrance door, and one of the neighbors who knew about StoP, he approached and said, "Come, I repair your front door." And they organize flight to shelters if necessary. These are some examples. And so somebody is here, yeah. Okay, so there are practical outcomes. And the model I developed is in 8 steps. I learned that from my US colleagues. They always have steps, 1, 2, 3, and then you know what to do. Very practical. So the first step, of course, is you have to find resources. You have to find money, people, you need staff to do it. At least one person, if she's really closely connected in the community and finds others to support her. And she has to do a training, this community training we offer, because, various reasons. And then you have to leave your office. If you will have trained staff in organizing, doing this community StoP work, this stuff should be connected to an NGO or a neighborhood service, a neighborhood center. So it should be part of the community. And they would do community assessment, would learn about the community, and would try to find out key persons and leaders and talk to them and find their motivation and connect with them. And if there are key persons and community leaders who are on your side, who agree, then you have something like the connection to the people in the neighborhood. Because if they're with you, if they talk, you ask them, would you talk to others and invite them? We will have a meeting and talk about StoP. We would like to form a neighborhood group to work on this. Would you be willing to take sides and support us? And if this key person says yes, then jackpot. Yeah, then people will show up. And so at first you have to talk a lot and find out to key persons with one-on-ones and things. So then you bring community members together and build a core group, an activist group. This is what we do. And the group, not you as a professional, they create materials, outreach stuff, and do community research. They talk to people, and you are the one who supports and trains them to do this. And then you go on with your group of dedicated neighbors, you do more networking, establish more cooperations. And also you will find that there will be disclosure. People will start to talk, and then you have to be prepared how to counsel and how to connect people to the support system, make services available. And it's an ongoing grassroots work of stabilizing and expanding networks and doing consciousness raising, because, you know, how people react, it's so deeply rooted in habits and such a long tradition. It takes time to change, to speak out openly, and to really build solidarity. And so, and also it's important that you have connections beyond the local community and take action above the level of the local community. And if it's only to have more resources and support your resources. And well, so we have this circle, how we work, resources, community assessment, bring people together. The groups do outreach work. We do have cooperation and public meetings. We have merchandise. And you see here, this is one of our main activists in the pilot neighborhood, Rukia. She was invited to Berlin because she was such an excellent neighborhood volunteer. And so she used the time to talk to Ms. Merkel, who was then the chancellor, and to our president, Mr. Gauck. She took our StoP merchandise and talked to them. And then, of course, there were photos, and those photos were going around in the neighborhood, and everybody was, Rukia, why did you talk to Merkel? Where did you go to Berlin? And then she said, yeah, I'm with StoP. Oh, what is StoP? Oh, I want to be part of it. I want also to go to Berlin, or whatever. So you create a talk. And yeah. So, Ola, what's the time? So it's
It is
10.
now 10:40. Yes.
Yeah, and I would like to invite you to take some notes. Just write down words, sentences that come to your mind without much thinking about it. Afterwards, I will go into the practice a little bit more, and then you will have breakout rooms. But you're just consuming, but I think it's good to, if you just think and take some notes about what you just heard. Don't think too much about it, just write it down. Words, associations, whatever. I'll wait for a minute. I have to drink something. Okay. Oh, sorry. So I hope you could take some notes. So this is the community where we started. It's in Hamburg, and it's very green, very international, and has a very bad reputation. It was built in the late 60s, early 70s, with mostly people with low income. Yeah, so, And we started there because I did a conference on the StoP model, and the youth worker, the leading youth worker of this neighborhood, attended this conference. And because Amy from Boston was in Hamburg with, they do a lot of work with young people. And so she came with 8 peers from close to home Boston, and the youth worker from this neighborhood was totally enthusiastic, and she wanted this. And so she contacted me and said, would you be willing to help us to build up this kind of work in Stalshoop too? And of course I said yes. And so we started there in 2010. Yeah, genau. And the thing is, the youth worker, this was one organization, and there was also a community center and an organization working with families. And so there were 3 social workers who formed a group with me and my co-worker, because it's very important that you're linked to the neighborhood. And these 3 social workers from the community, they gave some of their regular time, because we are working on the domestic violence as part of our daily work anyway. And so we give some hours to support the StoP model and work with you. And so at first we did a community assessment, like also walking the neighborhood, but also did 20 one-on-one interviews with community stakeholders, like the imam from all the churches, local politicians, people who have been around in the neighborhood for a long time and are well known and know others. And so they were like 30 key persons. We had a special kind of questionnaire, a combination of relational and functional talks. And we always asked them, so we would like to have a meeting. Do you know others who would be interested? And please, could you tell them? And we started with women, with female, because it's about empowerment of women, and we didn't have that much resources. So at first we start with kitchen table talks with female neighbors, and genau. And we had 2 groups because we set a date and then they showed up. And so we had 2 groups with around 10 to 12 neighbors who were really dedicated and wanted to do something. And some of them are still rolling after 14 years. So there are some new ones. There's a lot of change. We work with all genders, but this is still a core group. And we did action research and trained the neighbors to do this. So we do have nearly 700 documented door knocking talks, where it's kind of reach out, but you not only ask questions, so people start to think, oh, I can show you. So we did a lot of research on this, but this special action research is participatory. And yeah, I'll show you something about it. And whatever, we formed groups, and the groups were like coming together, and we ate a lot. So it was very important that it's fun and people like to come, and everybody brings something. You don't have to, but you bring something, and you start a conversation. You start talking about, what does equality, gender mean in my own life? Did I encounter any kind of violence? But we also did structures, educational things about, yeah, reasons, prevalence, and also about what can I do about civic courage and intervention. And yeah, we produced a lot of very colorful things. And in Stalshoop, there is a community from Ghana, very strong. And for a while, they wanted to have a kitchen table for their own community, because they said there is racism, and there are 2 of them were still in the mixed group. But so to reach out to the community, it was important to have groups of their own for a while and then mix again. And what neighbors said is that there were people who they were ready because they encountered this violence, and they were kind of looking for something like our initiative, and so they just hopped in. What many said, I want to help. Yeah, the desire to help somebody is very, very strong. What we would call solidarity or activism. Mostly the neighbors say, I want to help. This is their word they use. And it's also because if you would be the organizer and people would like you and know you, and you would ask somebody, they would come along because you asked them. It's also about people, and if you like, and whether you like people. That's why they came. And also in the neighborhood where we started, there was already a good network, and people experienced that they can do something. And so they said, oh, there's something new. Like one neighbor said, oh, we had a peace movement, we had climate things going on, and now there's StoP. This is our new movement, and I want to be part of it. So, and yeah, you can read it, I guess, yourself.
So Sabine, just to drop in to mention that kind of according to the plan, we should be going to breakout rooms quite soon.
Yeah, okay. It's just to give you some impressions from the neighborhood. From the neighbors, it was very important that they are in the foreground and the organizers are on in the background. Yeah. So, and this is different from traditional social work. And these two women with the headscarf, they are two main activists in our group. And the elderly one, she has been in the neighborhood for like 40 years. And if she says, oh, just wait a moment, I want to ask you something, you do not dare to not to stop. You talk to her, okay? And so because she is with us, people trust us. And so this is in the shopping center where they talk about StoP and do this action research. And action research is you obtain and you give information, you talk about IPV, you become visible as StoP activists, and there is a certain set of questions you use, like a door breaker, icebreaker, but you then ask, what do you think about domestic violence? And what are your ideas, what we can do? So you address people as people who have ideas, who can do something. And what do you think we could do? And would you like to be part of the action? And some people says, I don't have time, but then they, would you be willing to take this leaflet and hand it out to your neighbor? Oh yeah, okay, I can do. And would you come to our party? Oh yeah, party is okay. I cannot be with a group all the time, but party is okay. So some people come not on a regular basis, but they come to special events. And yeah, this is the first step. And we produced a different kind of posters. The first one was with a group. The people and like the woman in front with the headscarf, her husband got a call, and the call was, do you know that your wife is on this poster? And her husband says, yes, and I'm so proud of her. Isn't she beautiful? And so the reactions were different from what some people thought, and it started this conversation. And we worked with men at StoP as seen as allies. That's the role, and as role models. And so we work with men's groups, and we watch out that we have male colleagues. And so this was the second thing. So they showed face and names. It's not anonymous. And from there, we had these personal posters because people said, I want a poster for myself. And this is courageous, but I can tell you nothing happened. So that nothing bad happened. Some people had controversial discussions, but nobody was attacked or anything because we have this network and people know that the neighbors are not alone. There were neighbors who didn't want to show a face. They showed messages. They called themselves like the star group, because the stars, you reach out for the stars, they are always shining, give you orientation. And so we have t-shirts, people know us. We we are part of every block party, and we go, this is in Berlin at the National Ministry, and I always go together with neighbors when I'm invited. Yeah, and that produces a new talk. I don't go alone. And this is, yeah, you saw her before. And we are also part with our StoP t-shirts in action in the inner city and build coalitions. And this is maybe the last thing. Oh no, it's too complicated. It's a woman who said, oh, I didn't want to do the door knocking. Then I started and I discovered that the neighbors aren't that bad as I thought. And now I really think it's fun, and they will really be part of it. So yeah, my question about the community was because I know that some people feel ambivalent about neighborhoods, because neighborhood can be solidarity and help and also be control. But there still is a question, we want some control. We don't want them to accept violence behind closed doors, but we don't want them nosing around. And so this is an interesting thing. I had to think about that a lot, especially being from Germany, where the Nazis in the Nazi time used neighbors as spies. And in the Eastern Germany, they used them too. But I found out that when you work the way from grassroots, and create a certain friendly environment and encouraging environment, it differs. And before we leave and wrap up, I wanted to show you our website, because this website has a button and translate into different languages. I think sometimes the translation is not brilliant, but it could work out. And so I would like to, where is it? Oh, I have, just give me a minute. I have to find it again. I have so many windows open. Do you know this with your computer too? So just a second. Where are you? Here. Share screen here. Okay. So you see our website, and there is this button in the right upper space, and I pushed the English button, but we have different languages here. And as I said, some are not really good, but should do. And so you can have more information, and you can find StoP locations here. And also we have a video, it's not with talking, that shows you the core of our thinking and a little bit of the concept. And you can go to StoP Austria too via this website, and they are very powerful, and also have this button. And as they are very well financed, and so, oh yeah, so what they do, they build benches, and you know, there's no room for domestic violence. And this is very simple, but you can engage the municipal, what is, you know what I mean. So because they have to agree that there can be a bench outside, and then you can build it, woodwork with people together, you can paint it, and you can use it. And you can have like sponsors for it. And so it spreads out, little things. And I have to stop now because, yeah, time's nearly up. And so I hope you could get some inspirations out of it. What we could offer you, will offer you coming soon, is a toolbox on StoP, how to do it with more information. This is the EU project that's funded right now, but it's still work in progress. But as you saw, there is this meta study. So information is available. And maybe if there is enough interest, we will have a second round of a training group, an international EU training group that would be in English. But right now we don't have resources to go international. We can only offer information. And of course, you could ask us, like Ola or others who are in the project, and we will try to answer, but we don't have resources to help implement. But maybe do a training and talk more about it, or a second online workshop. And if you're more in like Africa, there's Raising Voices, or US, there we have partner organizations. Yeah. So I would love to sit down with all of you and have a coffee face to face. But given the situation, I wish you a wonderful week and a lot of success with your important work. And I hand over to Ola.
Thank you so much, Sabine. Thank you for sharing all your experience. And for everyone, I just wanted to say to please take a minute to fill out an evaluation questionnaire. I put the link in the chat. I will put it again just so it doesn't get lost anywhere. And I also wanted to say that you will all receive by email a handout that Sabine prepared that outlines the main points of today's webinar and of the StoP model, so you can have that for reference. If you get particularly inspired and want more information, or want to think of ways that you can get engaged, please feel free to email me. We put my email in the chat as well, and we are developing a toolbox for professionals as part of this European project that will be ready at the end of the year, and I would definitely share it with you if you let me know you're interested. Thank you so much for making the time, spending your Monday morning with us, or whatever time it is where you are, because some of you are for sure in other time zones. And I will see you hopefully in the next webinar.